Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collecting. Today what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at Steffen's collection. I call it the directed collection because it seems directed into a place that keeps getting better and better watches. And this involves trading and doing a number of other things, in my opinion, which I think are done with a good deal of wisdom. All right, so let's get started. The first group of watches we're going to look at are Steffen's vintage watches. And one of the things that Steffen did is that he provided me with a lot of information on his watches. And so there's some stories to go with them. The vintage Onsa was from an old girlfriend. I won't tell you what my old girlfriends gave me, so which wasn't much. And it's an Onsa vintage automatic. An interesting one. I've never heard of an Onsa before, so I can't really say very much about it. Also, too, he's got a sterile. A rectangular watch from the 1940s. The guess is a Gruen, and that would be my guess too. But I might be. We both may be wrong on that. And the final one is a vintage rose gold Doxa. Now Doxa is I've got a soft spot for Doxas because I really like their divers. And one of the things about vintage watches are really funny. I have my, this is vintage, it's from 1940. It's a Beauvais Manteau Roquepont. And it was one of those things that the only Roquepont that I could find that I could afford. And it was interesting because it was a mono Roquepont. And I don't know anybody other than Beauvais who made them. And it was for very short period of time. Actually, it was made under some other names, and but the point is that if you're going to get a vintage watch, there are some good reasons, and be sure you have one. I mean, I think that's important. The Doxa is, to me, one of the most interesting in this respect. The price of gold has gone up and up and up and up. And what's happened, a lot of people will dig through the old antique stores and find gold watches with no intention other than melting down the gold and selling it. So a lot of good vintage watches are disappearing like mad. So if you're after a vintage watch, you might also keep an eye out for some in gold. And as you can see here, Steffen found one. Okay, the next group of watches we're going to take a look at that Steffen has. These are sort of a couple fairly strong horology watches. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual. It is a Rolex that I happen to like a lot. I like nice, clean faces. And this Rolex has it. I mean, it's just right as far as I'm concerned. I'm not really big into chronographs, even though I'm wearing one right now. And that is a Rolex I like. The other one is an Omega Speedmaster. Now, Steffen didn't provide the reference number, so I wasn't sure which one it was. But it is a broad arrow version of it, which I think is really cool. And it's based on one of two different movements. Like I said, I didn't have the reference number, so I couldn't be sure. It's either the Frederick Piguet 1285 or Lemania 1873. Both of them are, especially the Frederick Piguet. Frederick Piguet has got pretty much a high horology movement maker. And Lemania is, I don't know. They're part of ETA now, but that doesn't mean everything. It depends on the whole group working on the Lemania. but it is an Omega Speedmaster. It's a good-looking watch. I mean, some people think that every collection should have a Speedmaster in it. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't have one, but I still, I think it's one of those watches that I think is, you know, Speedmaster, the man on the moon. And it's sort of an interesting watch. It's, like I said, everyone should have. That particular Rolex looks like one I think that would fit in for a strong horology in any collection too. Now, this next one is a Nomos, and one of my favorite. The thing I like about it, it has an in-house movement, and it's a reasonably priced watch. I think this one, Steffen said this one was like $1,400. And, you know, given some of the crazy prices of watches, Nomos to me stands out as a solid, good watch. Philippe Dufour recommended Nomos. They asked a bunch of these grandmasters what they would recommend under 10,000. I think it's either 10,000 euros or Swiss francs or dollars, something like that. But anyway, Dufour recommended the Nomos. And Steffen said, well, it's a German watch, and he's German, so he thought that was a good reason. I guess I happen to like it. Clean as a whistle, good example of the best type of Bauhaus, and I think it's a cool watch. Okay, the next one, and this is part of the story that Steffen had, was that he traded in part his Explorer, his Rolex Explorer, for a Jaeger-LeCoultre Night and Day, which I just think is the neatest choice for a Jaeger-LeCoultre. I really like the Night and Day. You can use it for dual time. Excuse me. And they're cool watches. They just look cool. And the Explorer, I happen to like the Explorer, especially the GMT version, and I do like the Polar version. But I tell you, going from strong horology to high horology, perfect choice here, and I really like it. That's why I call this collection directed. Now, a couple things that Steffen added that most collection reviews don't have, mainly because the people don't tell me about them. But I thought it was really cool. He's got two watches here. One he calls the Seller's Remorse. It's a vintage Omega from 1951 and the oversized 38 millimeter. Now, I guess he traded it in or sold it or something, and he wish he hadn't. So that's Seller's Remorse. I think I've had one watch that I had worked really hard to get and finally got it, and I just quit using it, and that's the only one I've ever traded. I haven't had any remorse on it so far, but maybe, who knows. Now, the Grail watch is the goes to the original 70s chronograph with a blue dial on a bracelet. Now, this is a Grail watch, and he was Steffen was telling me he was in a watch shop and he tried on his Grail watch. He couldn't hold his arm straight. I think a lot of us can relate to that. You know, you got a whole boy, there's my Grail watch, and try to take a picture of it at the same time, and you got two hands shaking the camera and the watch. I thought that was so funny, but it's a cool looking watch. As a Grail watch, it certainly is an interesting one. The what's it called? I think it's called a pantograph or something like that. That's who the original has that I really like. But this one's a very cool one. It's got that cushion shape to it. And Steffen, if that's your Grail watch, best of luck. I hope you get it. and I hope it's everything you hope for. So sure, good looking watch. I wonder what it looks like holding still. All right, that's it for Steffen's collection. As far as recommendations are concerned, where I would say, well, you know, this might be a next step for you. I think the best step that has been made so far was to the Jaeger-LeCoultre, because that is that's a true high horology watch. They've won a lot of Grand Prix awards. It's a very good watch. The Glashütte original, that series is generally considered strong horology, and it's the strong horology tend to be far more affordable than a lot of the stuff in high horology, and but sometimes not. If this is what you'd like, it's a German watch. I know you have some favor for that, but what about a Longenson? That might be another thing that you might want to consider, trying to find one of those, some good deals on it. There are a whole lot of really very good German watches. One of my Grail watches is the Langenhain Geoff, I think it's called. Love that watch. Anyhow, Steffen, let's hear what the rest of you have to say about Steffen's collection. Any suggestions that you might have, or any ideas or insights you got from his collection. So anyhow, again, this is Bill Sanders for WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collecting, and I'll see you next Friday.